Now this is how we do with freezer paper. This is the shiny side of the freezer paper. It goes to the wrong side of the fabric, and we're going to press it. And pressing it, just 5-6 seconds. You can usually go longer just to make sure it adheres. Okay. Now first I'm going to cut into this point here. I'll just go right to the freezer paper. And what I'm going to do is take the Maxx and just give it a good squirt, kind of makes it pretty wet. And I'm going to start here on this end and just use the iron to press the sides up in the seam allowance. And you're just doing a little bit at a time and pressing. I didn't see the need to clip these curves, but you might find it's easier to clip the curves. So we'll just see how this goes. And you just keep your fingers away from the iron. It's pretty easy to do. I thought I would have problems. And then we're getting to this point, and we're just going to try to pull it over as much as possible. So now you can see this edge is pressed down pretty well, and it's got the Maxx starch on it. So we'll do the same thing to this side. Just go a little bit at a time, pressing. The first time I did this on this curved shape, it sort of got straight. So the more you do it, the easier it gets and the better it looks. And when I get down to this point, I'm just going to go straight off like I did the other one, and then we'll trim that later. Oh, it looks like we might not have to trim it. So let me get a close-up on this. So there's the ends, the corners. You can see it was first pressed on this side and then pressed over, and it gives a nice little point there. And then you see the curves, and then let's turn it over. And so those curves look pretty nice. Go out again. Okay, and then I'll just give it another press just for good measure. And when you're ready, when everything's ready and you're happy with the shape of it, you just sometimes you might need to let it dry a little bit, but I find it's pretty dry right now. You use a dry iron, no steam. So then you just open up this part here and pull the freezer paper. You just pull the freezer paper out. And I found I was able to use this twice. So I haven't tried for 3 times, but twice you can do it. Let's add this to this background. That if I used some glue around this edge, and I just sort of glued around the edge, it holds it down as you're stitching. So we'll just turn this over, press down the edges. Now this point here, there's a little bit of a raw edge there, and if you just use some glue and just pull this under, and actually what's going to happen is when you stitch it, it's going to cover up pretty well there. So if that bugs you, you might want to do something with that, but it's a little bit there and I'm not going to worry about it. So now this is all ready to stitch.